Hey guys, welcome back to MMA Library. Today in MMA and UFC news, Sean O'Malley reveals he won't be the backup fighter for the Henry Cejudo and Aljamain Sterling fight that's set to go down on May 6th. Here's what O'Malley had to say.
That brings me up to this too. I was really planning on being backup for Henry Aljo. Now we're at the point where it is so, dude, going doing a camp 5-5s, planning on a fight is hard enough to do, knowing you have a fight. But knowing you're probably not going to fight, I can't train the same way. I don't feel like I'm in a position to where I'm like, well, it's my only opportunity. I need to be a backup. I'm like, now, and I was trying, but it's just like now I'm at the point where I'm like, that one of those dorks pulls out, reschedule it. I need a real 8 weeks where I know I'm fighting, and it's too hard to go be that disciplined. You can't be that disciplined all the time. There's a certain level of discipline you can be in camp. That's why you feel like superhuman when you're in there, because how disciplined you've lived the last 8 weeks, whatever it is. But now I'm to the point where they're 5 weeks out from a fight. I'm like, if I got the call, I'll be like, I'm not ready to do 5-5s. I haven't been doing every possible thing that I could be doing. So I'm pulling out from backup fighter. Never officially was, but breaking news.
Jorge Masvidal went off on Colby Covington during a recent interview with Ariel Helwani. Here's what Masvidal had to say when questioned about Colby getting the next title shot.
I love Dana, but Dana says a lot of things, man. History says one thing: whoever makes the most noise when they fight, whoever sells the most pay-per-views, and whoever fans want to see at the end of the day, that's who'll get the title shot. And on top of it, as I recall, champions have always called the shots, and Colby is only a champion of calling cops. So I'm just going to continue to do me. I'm going to go out there and break Gilbert's face, and then Leon is going to call my name out, and I'm going to go fight Leon for this belt, and that's it. And then, Colby could just sit in the timeout box until I call his ass up to fight me again.
Masvidal then goes off on Khamzat Chimaev because he missed weight by so much at 170 for the scheduled Nate Diaz fight. Then Masvidal is asked who would win between Colby and Khamzat if the fight ever happens.
Who do you think wins, him or Khamzat?
Both please.
But Khamzat?
Khamzat too, buddy. He missed weight by 8.5 pounds. Get out of here. You're still talking about nobody wants to fight you. And this go take weight before you talk about fighting, bro. That's the first thing, Don't do steroids and make the weight that you agreed upon as a man. You're gonna miss by 8 pounds and think it's all cool and be calling people out. Get the out. And then I saw him do a comment that he was calling out Pereira. Like, who the are you? This is the world champion. You don't even have a win over a top 15 guy. Get the out of here at 185. Go like the rest of us. Put your hard hat on, put your mouthpiece on, get to work. That's the new age shit, bro. Everybody's got an Instagram now. Everybody's got an opinion now. And everybody just wants to talk, man. Go out there and put in the work. You can't miss weight by 8.5 pounds and call for title shots. Get the out of here.
During a recent YouTube video, Henry Cejudo reveals why he returned to MMA. Here's the clip.
Why is Henry Cejudo coming back? That's a question for me. It's a question for a lot of you guys. Why am I making this comeback? Guys, when you've accomplished everything, you've reached everything that there is to do in sports, you know what you want to do? You want to relax and enjoy it. You're bored. You just like, what's next, man? Why do I have to deal with this pressure of fighting? Or why do I have to take an elbow, knee, and all that? Guys, it's plain and simple. People at times, they need that time to rekindle the love of competition. To me, it wasn't necessarily the sport, but just having that drive, having that chip. This is why I'm able to relate to a guy like Jon Jones quite a bit. It's because once she started winning, you just start getting, it starts getting boring, or maybe that's not the right word. It doesn't get exciting anymore. Of course, there's a lot of matches that I could do, but to me, I'm a conqueror. To me, I always like to go up. I always like to do certain things to always be different.
Gilbert Burns calls for the FBI to investigate last weekend's main event between Cory Sandhagen and Chito Vera. Burns believes the judge who scored the fight in favor of Chito may be involved in fixing fights.
I think those judges gotta be investigated. Those judges are like the things that we see with a couple fighters, James Cross, those guys, FBI on top. We need FBI on these judges, because those judges may be working with the betting company, maybe doing something behind, getting a third person to bet. I just think those guys are doing something crazy, and I just think it's not real. I think those guys are being dirty and maybe trying to get money out of this, because if two judges, or three judges, if two judges okay, let's work on this fight. Let's get a deal and then have a third person put a lot of money. Those guys are making money, no one thinking about it. I think we gotta investigate those judges because Chito's my guy and I want him to win, but there's no way he won that fight.
Adesanya opens up about his most recent loss to Alex Pereira and explains he has nothing to lose in the rematch.
That's a good question. I haven't been asked that. That's why I like coming here. You guys, you don't probe too much or get clickbait stuff, but you ask proper questions that make me think. Benefits from this loss, I have nothing to lose. That's the best thing. Like I said, I have nothing to lose. The worst has already happened, so it's like, what's he gonna do again? The worst has happened. I'll tell you one thing. I know how to beat this guy. I know in my heart, he knows I know how to beat him.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
On Alex Pereira's recent video mocking him, Izzy had this to say.
You know, it's weird though. For me, I'm like, I don't really care, but there's one reaction he gave. I didn't want to say this I won't tell the UFC people this, but like there's one reaction he gave, like they pan to like some stuffed animals and he goes, ah. And for me, I'm like, what the f do you think you are? Like that I don't look at him and go, why are you wearing that face paint and crawling on the ground like you're a tiger? I don't care. That's what you want to do. That's what you do. That gives you power. That gives you power. But the fact that he looks at me and the way I live my life, I wasn't even doing nothing about him. I'm living my life, and it upsets him. That's very telling. That speaks a lot about him than it does about me. And that was him showing his hand.
Cory Sandhagen doesn't believe Chito Vera will become UFC champion anytime in the near future.
And he definitely was not really, I don't think, putting too much forth of like a giant effort to like close that distance the way that he maybe should have. So he really wasn't even being the guy that was trying to outwork me, you know? So you have to be firing on all cylinders if you want to be world champ, man. And that's like what the top 5 of the UFC looks like. And that's why I've been here for the last 3 years.
Do you think he has what it takes to be a champion?
Not while I'm here. Not while I'm here, man. Like, I think Chito's a phenomenal fighter. I think he's an inspiring guy. He comes from a country where there's no other UFC fighters in it, and that's like a big deal. He's been in the sport for a really long time. Chito to me is like a good dude. He's like an inspiring guy. He's not someone that I was ever going to take lightly, but I do think that you can't rely on these things that like you do really well already. Like I'm sure that he's had a work ethic his entire life. He doesn't get to really rely on that anymore. He has to like be able to learn, be able to develop skills, be able to like put himself out there in other, and he has to answer those questions for himself.
Let me ask you about this. I've got to ask you. Jon Anik, come on. We know you like to play around and you have some fun, Colby. Jon Anik's the man. And I know he's spearheading Belal Muhammad, right? And I get that. And I get that it annoys you because he's trying to f your title shot, you know, so it's going to give you an emotional response. But Jon Anik, what's going on, buddy? What's going on with Anik?
Mike, you know, like, I guess Jon found out that, you know, the stove can be really hot. Maybe you shouldn't touch it. So, you know, I tell everybody the same thing, you know, like when the train's coming through, you know, you better get off the track so you're going to get ran over. So, you know, it is what it is. But, you know, no one's safe in this business, Mike. Like everybody that wants to come and drag me down, they don't know what I've been through. They don't know how hard I work every day to stay at this level in the top of the game. So, you know, if you come for the king, you know, the king's going to have a response.
Guys, thanks so much for checking out the video. If you like the content we do here on this channel, don't forget to like and subscribe to MMA Library for all the latest MMA and UFC news. We'll see you in the next video.